Thank you everybody for joining us here today for another CTC software webinar. Today we're going to do another introduction of Label Genie geared particularly for how you can help your survey labeling go a little faster. My name is Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Product Manager here at CTC Software. And this webinar will be recorded to our YouTube channel and will be available in a few days. So if you're joining us live and you'd like to share it, go ahead and check that out. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel and you have any questions, pop them into the questions. It will come to us and we will get to it. If you're watching us live today, please feel free to ask any questions and we'll try to get to them during the broadcast, but certainly there will be time after. And go to our website to check out our future events and upcoming webinars, and there you can register to receive updates on it and also see our newsletters. So with that, let's get started today. So what is Label Genie? It can help simplify and expedite all of your labeling processes to efficiently create, manage, save time, and reduce errors. Today we're going to guide you through some of the best practices and some of the usages, particularly for survey. So it's part of our SIM project suite of tools, which is intended for the everyday Civil 3D user creating design and production drawings, and will work back to version 2021 of Civil 3D. So today we're going to talk about how we can use Label Genie for efficient survey project labeling, which will then ensure consistency and accuracy in doing so. And we'll show you how to set it up and some of the usages and best practices, which will help enhance and streamline your workflows. So what are some of the advantages of Label Genie? Well, it automates your labels. It's very versatile. Anything you can label through the annotation tab, you can also label with Label Genie and more. We have more control with that. So we can define different labels for different scenarios, which ultimately will save on clicks and which saves time. So we don't have to do multiple clicking to get one label done. And it uses all of your current annotation text styles, your Civil 3D styles, and then we can quickly update all of our labels when things change, and we can create multiple labels on multiple drawings at the same time, which is better than native annotations. We have more control over it, which we'll show you here in a little bit. There's some quick and easy updates, and then they are dynamically linked to the specific objects as with your Civil 3D labels, because they are Civil 3D labels. And then we can make templates that will save time on future projects. So with that, let's jump into the drawing and show you what we have today. Okay, here's what I have here is a kind of a typical plat site. So all the boundaries have been drawn. We have the right-of-way up here, our new site encompassing this area, adjacent plats drawn over here, and some of the labeling is already on here, some is not. You might get this on your own in the drawing and have to label it, or you might create this yourself. So first off, we're on version 25.2 currently, and we do give you some jump off templates, kind of some starter templates to use for these. So what we're doing today would be these segment labels right here in the 100 series. You can just use those to get started setting up your labels for some of your plats, they're located in this location, in your C, Users, Public, CTC software, and Label Genie. They don't have to live there by any means. You can take them out of there and put them wherever you want, which is one of the best practices, to put it on a network drive so that everybody can get at it. So some of the limitations with native tools. I know you're thinking, well, we do that all the time, and we use our line label tools here. Well, one of the first drawbacks is we have no layer control over it. The labels will go on whatever label the style dictates. And then we have single. We also have multiple, which is nice, but it has to be a polyline then. So you have to have drawn this, and everything has to connect, so it's a solid polyline in order for it to label multiple segments. Otherwise, it's click and go. So if I set this here, and we have all these styles here, these will be available through Label Genie as well. I'm going to use this one, and we set that as well. But some of the limitations, even if I have it set to multiple, and I come to add, if I wanted to do, let's just say these three. See, I have to click those one at a time. It doesn't let me do multiples. So that's one of the downfalls to it. And then two, if we wanted to change anything about this, we would have to change the style, just a lot of stuff. So today we'll automate all of this labeling right here with Label Genie. So first, where is it? It's right here in our General tab, as you saw from the PowerPoint slides. So we just go here and open it up. And this is our user interface. So if you've seen any of our other webinars, there's a lot of things we can do with it. Our user interface, all of our tools are consistent for the most part across the board on how they work. And our options, this is where we path for our templates that are right here. As I said, they are in the Civil Public folder to begin with. You path to that, you can get at them. I have it for my demo set to right there. Then we have our help section right here, which will pull up the user's guide, and then we have pertinent videos right here, so that will take you to Label Genie videos to answer more of your questions. And then if you need any help, you can click our support right here. The About button will tell you what version that you're on. As I said, we're currently on 25.2. This will let you know where you are. And if you're not, you can grab it right here. Just know that if you're working in Civil 3D 2020 or older, I wouldn't recommend that, because our tools won't be supported in those versions. So anything from 2021 and up, you're safe to go ahead and download that. So as I said, today we're going to focus on labeling this stuff here that in this plat that isn't already labeled. So as I said, here's our templates right here. I could load any one of these right here. Here I have one for boundary outside, but I'm going to show you how to build one from scratch. Well, first I'll click here and I'll show you how to do that. So I I grab it, whatever, and then I tell it to load right here. You're going to get a warning here that if you had done anything here, if you want to save that as a template, that's what you would do. So I'm going to say don't save and proceed. And I'm actually going to build this from scratch. So we're going to lose what's there. So I still want to do my line and curve, but just to show you what all is in here that we can do. So what is my label type, which follows along with our annotation tab a bit. So alignments, blocks, dimensions, if we want general notes, our surface labeling is down here. So line and curve is just like in the annotation portion of it. And as I said, if you wanted to do multiples, you would have to have polylines in there. Well, these aren't polylines. They're all line segments that have been drawn in here. So then our anchor object is only segments, very similar to the annotation. And this will tell us what we're going to label. So I'm going to do lines. Some of these we can check different ones, but this one is just lines. So this is a kind of a two-step process here for my curves. I have to do that separately, which we'll get to here in a second. So if I click this right here, nothing's populated. So I can do this a couple of different ways. I can use the pick right here to select the individual ones, or in this case, I can do it all by layer. So if I want to do this existing right-of-way that's adjacent to our site right here, I can just click. That was a curve, obviously. So there's a line. So I have 42 lines that it will label all at once. So as I click OK here, then I move to my formatting tab. And there's some other settings here too if we wanted to include, if we had another set of right-of-way drawings or what have you, we could click that right there. So now we move to our formatting tab, which sets our style. So what is my label style for this? So we said it's going to be that one for, as we saw in the annotation one. And then my curve one, I want to be the same thing. Actually, I think I want to use the stacked one. And then here's what I talked about, the control of it. So what layer do we want this to go on? So to be consistent, I want it to be on the same layering that we used for the plat. So I've got this, I should have, here's my right-of-way one. So it's going to be on the right-of-way right there. So I'm going to put the labels on the same layer as that. So I'll go back to my formatting tab, and we have some other stuff here. Some of our stuff you can edit what's here. For this particular one, this is what we're going to get: line, bearing, and distance. Now the curved one doesn't come into play here because we're doing lines, but some of the other things we do, if we're doing them in layouts here, this isn't activated, we get at that. And then here, right here, how do we want them to go? We want them to be, which side of the line, basically, do we want them to be on? So I'm going to click this to none for right now. And then too, we can reverse it. If we started reading this and it didn't make sense, we could reverse and make it go back the other way. I'm going to leave this as created. And now I just simply say to add them. And there we got 42 line labels in there. So I said this is going to be a two-step process, and this is my style here with the crow's feet. And this is going to be a two-step process because now I have to do my curves, which very simply I just reopen Label Genie. And now I select arcs. And if I open my segments again, I see curves, pick that, and go back to, because this is going to clear, so I can select that again by all the layers, pick my layers, come back to my formatting. This all holds. So this I have here, and I'm just going to add them. So now that covered that. But I think I want that on the other side of this line. So it's going to interfere maybe with my boundary. So I can just come and do this. I'll take care of it when I do the boundaries. So we took care of that one. So now we can do this boundary. So if I look at this, my boundary line, that's my boundary, my overall boundary. So I'm going to label that, and now I don't have to do really much to it. And I can come here now that it's set to arcs, and I should have done this for lines, but I'll do it on the next one. So I can make a template for this. So then it will pull this data. I won't have to do this every single time. I can come back and just load that. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to give it a name, and I'll call it, for today, I'll call it underscore just curve labels. call it that. And I'll save it to that. And now I can even come in here and do some of those curves. So I know there's some curves involved with this boundary. For like right up here, for instance. So I can come and I'll clear that out and I'll come and grab, oops, I got to grab a curved one. So I grab the curved one there. I say okay. And my formatting should be all set up. I want to change the layer though. So I want this to be on my boundary panel, which I set up ahead of time. And now I can just tell it to go. So it's going to do 4 curve labels. So you see it put it right on top of that other one. I can do a couple of different things with this. I can do natively because it's all native stuff. I can just go ahead and I guess I can't flip it. But whatever I can do with those natively, I can do. I could come back and rerun those, for instance, here. And I will. Let's just flip those. So I like these inside, but I want the right-of-way ones on the other side. So I can come back to the formatting tab and I can tell it to flip all of these and the curves will still be there. The arcs are still selected. All I have to do is change the layer again. And then I'll grab that one. So there's our 10 again. And I'll add these. And it's just going to update them. Wrong layer. So I messed up on the layer. Easy enough. This is the beauty of Label Genie, is that if you see something that you didn't do quite right, you can come back and very easily fix it. So in this case, I want to change it to that layer. Now I can just add, it's going to update them. All it did was change the layers just like that on the fly. And now I've got the right-of-way inside there for the right-of-way, and also my boundary line is there. So I can do the rest of this. So I can come back, Label Genie again. It's repetitive, but it's very quick. So again, I'm going to change this to lines. And that's cleared out, so I can just re-grab this one. So I have my 16 objects, 16 lines it's going to label now. Check this, make sure my line is checked. Come back to formatting, and I want this to be back on that boundary layer. Anno right there, and tell it to go. So 16, very quickly done. I like where they're at on the inside, but now I see, for whatever reason, this one didn't get labeled. And that is because, as you see, it's a polyline right here. So I can fix that very quickly and easily as well. So first, I'm going to save that though. So I have that one as lines, as another jumping off point. So I'm going to go ahead again, say new file again. I'm going to say save. I'll give it the underscore again to keep it at the top of the list, and I'll call it line labels. So there, I saved that. But this time I need to select polylines for this because that's a polyline to do. And then it's just the same process. So it's very simple. I could click it there as a single one, but in case there's some others there, got the right layer to update, I'll select it that way. So now that we have our boundary labeled, we can do the rest of this plat right here. And again, pop Label Genie open. The only thing I'm going to change is the layering that these go on. But I can load that line one that we just made. So I can load that, the line labels. Not going to save that one. So now you see it populated automatically to lines, the segments. This should be clicked. It is. So now all I have to do is change the layer that, because I saved it, it's going to hang on to the layer that I did it on. And just pick a line within there, 47 lines this time. And check my formatting, that should be okay, but I want those on a different layer. So I'm going to pick them on that one. And I'm going to say none to the flip state this time. And I'm going to add them. Going to update 2 somehow or another. There's 2 there. But now they're all in there also. But again, we have the same thing here. We have some polylines. So we just have to repeat the process. So in this case, since they're lines, I'm just going to again open it up, change it quickly to polylines. This time, I'm going to go ahead and grab those by layer in case there's any other ones that have been drawn using polyline. And now I can just add them. And one more time with the curve sections. So you see how quickly this can go once you've got it set up. So now I'll come back to this, open this up, and I'll go reload my curve that we made earlier. Load it. Don't save that one. My arcs are selected. I just need to grab the correct layer that they're on. So I'll clear that, and I'll come back to the drawing, pick that for my layer, tell it okay. How many did we get? I can check to see even how many. 31. And I didn't change my layer again. So easy enough. Again, I won't have to pick those, do a select similar and change, which I certainly could, but I'm going to do it this way. I put them on the right layer. So it should be this one. Add them. And there we updated. So and I could do that here too to continue labeling everything, but everything is ready to go. As I said, we can use the flip state. It's just another label style. I could change that also in the label, as you saw during Label Genie, to get those to land where I want. Now, it's not going to take care of everything. There is still some editing that needs to be done. You would probably want to pull these out to look like that, but it gets you better than 90% of the way there. But what else can we do with it as far as survey goes? So I see a couple of questions have come in. Can I do tags with the Label Genie? Yes, I can. If I wanted to use a multi-leader with a keynote tab on there and then call them out, I could. And then I could use Data Wizard to create a legend or a table that would pair up with those keynotes that I use. So yes, if that's how you're doing it, you can. Number of different ways to do that. Yes. So here's some other things we can do with it. So if I had an existing site like this and I needed to do an alta for it and needed to add some labels to it, for instance, I can dimension this building. I can put the dimensions of this building in the building the way I want to see it all at once. So how would I do that? First, let me turn off that aerial background. You can see the building. We're going to quickly label those and this AC unit that's right here, but let me get that out of the way so we can see things better. So I want to label this building, the dimensions of this building. So again, come into Label Genie. And now I'm going to change this to my dimensions. Oops, I missed it. Dimensions. And what am I going to do? Here's all the things I can dimension with it. This happens to be a survey figure because it came from the survey drawing, so I'm going to leave that at that. It's already got it grabbed. It's got two of them. Don't know if that's a default or I was playing with it earlier, so it hung on to it. So I don't have to do anything to this one. Say OK, come in here. It even hung on to my setting for this. Again, that comes right from your tool space, or yeah, your tool space. No, your annotation tab, sorry, up here. And then what layer do I want them to go on? Again, I have that control. I'm going to leave them on that one. And I want them to be annotative. So here's some of the other things that go with it. So this is controlled by both your dimension style and this. I think my normal style, I've got it laying right in line with the line. So I'm going to give it a Y offset, which is just going to put it inside the building. We'll see that here in a second. I should be able to just tell it to go. So it's going to add 17 labels. So it's going to do all of these, just like I like them. Looks good if I'm creating an Alta. There's how my style looks. And now you can edit it and do whatever you want. It's just a dimension style. Come right from your annotation tab up here. So it's right in there. So that's that one. But if I didn't like the way these looked, if I wanted these inside, I could fix those pretty quickly too, doing the same thing. So I'll just reopen Label Genie. And I'll go back to my formatting tab. And I can flip it right here. Let's try that, 5. And now go re-grab those. So I want to clear this, but I'm going to grab it individually. So that's the whole thing. So it just flipped them. I missed by a little bit, 2.5, but that's my offset from there. And I can play with it how I want, but you see it didn't affect those. It just moved these in that case. So let's do one more thing, a multi-leader tag on these tracks. Some typical things you might need to label for that. So again, open Label Genie. And we do have some of these that are jump off. So I have M leaders on different things here. And I could pick any one of these as my load, my jumping off, as I noted before. And now I can just change what I want to label. So in this case, I want to label these polylines. I think they're polylines. So multi-leader text. Actually, they're probably survey figures. Let's try it. So if they're not, it's gonna flash at us and let us know they're not. So it did. So now it's a multi-leader, and where do I want it to go? I want it to go at vertices, but I don't want a whole bunch of them here. So here's some of the settings that are in with this. So if I tell it to go, and it's preset to what I had before. So if I set it to go at the beginning and the end, and then 180 intervals, and I can set it to an X, Y offset. I'm going to leave that right there. And then again, just some of the same settings we saw before. If I tell it to go, it's going to add 8. So, but some of these I don't like. And I could certainly grab these and drag them. They're just labels if I wanted to fix them. But if you got a whole bunch of them, maybe we don't want to do that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these individually, which will get rid of those. So if I come back and reopen it, well, I could pick them and erase them, select similar, number of AutoCAD ways to do it. But if I change the way this is selected and I clear that out and I grab this one, because they're going that way, that's how I want them, just tell it to add. It's going to update. I think I needed to do my delete previous. I'm going to open it again. Should do this. There, it took them off. So delete previous. As I selected that, it took the old ones off and just left the new ones. Exactly what I'm looking for. Now all I need to do is change my XY again and reselect. So come back here, click it again, clear that out, grab my new figure. So they'll be right across. I'm going to leave those settings intact, and all I'm going to do is flip-flop my XY. So I'm guessing, I'm just going to take a guess here, say that, that 10, leave that at 5. So what it should do, instead of going minus 25, should go 10 that way. It's probably about right, looking at it. I can just tell it to add them. Whoops, say no right there because I still have my delete. We don't want that. And there, put them in. So a pretty good guess. So that all looks well and good. I'll do one more style of labeling here. Keep this short today. So here's this concrete unit. Maybe they shot the pad of it. Maybe they didn't shoot that. Maybe I don't have a block for an AC type of unit like that, and I just want to label it. Number of things you can do with that. Let me get that off the background again so we can see better. So if I want to label this right here, polyline with a label, and I made one earlier, so to speed things up here, but I'll show you the settings we need to go through for that. So I have one that I already made for it called AC Note, and I'm going to load it, and don't save. So it's going to take care of the settings I have for it, and it hangs on to this. So if you're always surveying and you have stuff like this, load that template, and you won't really have to do anything. So, and then the anchor point in this case, I want to be the centroid. Again, we have all of these settings, but in this case, I want it to land inside of there. So it's going to locate the center point of this and put it in. So if I come here, I got my label style, again, right from your annotation tab. I'm going to use that as my label style, that as the layer I want it to come on. But here's the tricky part for it, and the unique part. We can add all of this. So I added AC unit, so it's above, AC unit above. It's a middle justify, so I take care of that right here too. Everything else, the line spacing is for my M text to make it fit in there without hiding everything. So how do we make this? I'll delete that one out of there and I'll just add. So we say right here, we say custom text. We push it over and I just simply type in what I want it to say right there. So AC right there. And now I can move these down. So I just drag these down or up, whatever I want to do. So I put it there. So that's how we did it. And here's your preview, what it's going to look like. AC unit without the justify on here. Now I should just be able to hit add, and it dumps it in there. And the width that I talked about is for your M text width. Might take a little playing around with, but that's right there. Here's my width factor, line factor, everything right there. So it's just a hunk of M text. Then I can edit it, do whatever I want to it from there. So just a couple of things you can do with it to help with your survey labeling. I know there's a lot more to it than that. We could call out all these trees. We could call out these curb lines, doing the same functionality we did right here. Maybe just find the midpoint of these lines, for instance. A lot of stuff out there. So that's really all I had to show you for this demo today. So it's part of the SIM CTC project suite, as I mentioned before. We're at version 25.2. We also have the Manager Suite, also on 25.2. And if you don't have it and you would like to get it, you can contact your local reseller, and if they don't offer it, contact us here at ctcsoftware.com. We'd be glad to help you out with that. And as always, if you have any ideas or need any help at all, please contact us here at support. All of our tools are built from ideas from you, for you, and your ideas are always welcome. We will do our best to accommodate them. So with that, thank you for joining us here today. I don't see any other questions coming in, but if you have one, now's a good time to ask. Otherwise, if you're leaving, thank you again for joining us today and hope to see you at the next webinar. Have a great day.